Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Digital, aka WilliamLee.nyc. Today I'm here with Ttartisan lens, budget-friendly lenses. The reason why I'm doing this because I'm looking to build a Fuji rangefinder monochrome build, so I'm looking for a manual lens. Lenses I purchased on my own. Ttartisan didn't send me anything. I reached out to them, but they told me I didn't have enough views and followers. I understand. It is what it is. I was hurt, I ain't gonna hold you. Getting into YouTube and stuff, like, be careful, guys. When you post to Instagram, just be mindful. Don't let any of that shit, likes, subscribers, don't let that shit get to your head. You are very skilled. You are very good at what you do. Likes and subscribers can't tell you that. Like, anyone could purchase likes and subscribers. I know people that dump plenty of money, tons of money into followers and subscribers. Just don't ever let that get to you. And I know sometimes it's hard because it's like everything's internet, everything's, but this friendly reminder that you are amazing and your followers, your subscribers do not determine how good you are. And you should never ever let it determine that. These are the lenses that I chose to experiment with that I purchased. I purchased a 50mm f2, the 27mm f2.8. It's autofocus. I wanted to do a manual lens, but I heard so much about this lens I had to try it out. And I also got the 25mm f2 and the 18 f6.3, which is just a weird lens. So I'm planning on shooting this on my X Pro 2. I want a street photography build. You know, I do street photography to practice more mindfulness. So I do a lot of meditating, and meditating is very good. I highly recommend it for you photographers out there. Meditating helps so much with photography and just, especially street photography. Being mindful, the more present you are in the moment, the more you're gonna capture. I highly recommend it. And I have apps. I could do a video about that. So I'm gonna do a couple of monochrome film simulations, and I'm planning on just choosing one of these lenses to make this build. Okay, so the first lens I'm going to talk about is the 18mm. It comes in this plastic box, comes a little package, really small. It's made out of metal. The focusing, it's a little tough. It's stealthy. It's not noticeable. It's very thin, so once you put it on your camera, it's hard to even notice it. And then the fixed f-stop. And I say the fixed f-stop for one reason is because when I do street photography, I always get confused. I'm a portrait photographer and I'm a bokeh whore. I always have to put, like, if it's a 1.4 lens, 9 times out of 10 I'm shooting 1.4 almost all the time when I'm shooting portraits. So when I do street photography, I'm always going from f2 2.8 to f8 to f4, and sometimes I'm going back and forth, messing around with f-stop, that I get all caught up, and that's another mental block that stops me from going out and shooting. So with this lens, it eliminates that because you're always at f6.3, which is pretty cool. But the problem is that it's hard to determine the minimum distance. Like, it says 4 feet, but it doesn't feel like 4 feet. It feels further than that. It was really hard to take portraits. Some street photography, when I came above ground, I did bump into 2 young men. They were artists, and they wanted me to take their photos. They're like, hey, you know, you're a photographer, can you take our picture? I was like, fine. But it was so hard to take portraits with this lens. And I know this isn't really a portrait lens. So I don't recommend it for portraits. I do recommend it for landscape photography shot, architecture, but for street photography, unless you're across the street or you're like 8 or 10 feet away from the subject, you'll get him and everyone else in view. But it's really, really hard to determine what's in focus and what's not, even with the highlights, because I use the highlights in red, and it's still very difficult to figure out whether or not the picture is in focus. Out of 1 out of 5, I will give this lens, I know this lens got a 3, I would give it a 4 because when I was able to edit the images straight out of camera, the vignetting is not that bad. It's a little smudgy, but once you sharpen it and remove the vignetting, it's really good lens. And for this price, you cannot beat that. So for a pancake lens, if you ain't looking for anything 2.8, you don't mind fixed focus, and you're trying to figure out what's in focus and what's not, I'm telling you, this lens is really good. It feels good, and the images came out really good. I was very surprised by the image quality that this lens produces. So this lens, I give it a 4. So this is the second lens I want to talk about is the 23mm f2 lens. This lens, love it. The build, the focusing, to the weight, to the feel, absolutely love it. Although I'm a 35mm guy and I'm a 50mm guy, like, I just love this lens. Once I got it, the image quality, amazing. This is the thing with these lenses, when you shoot straight out of the camera, the images are gonna come off soft. There's gonna be vignetting, there's gonna be a lot of softness in the photo, but it's easy to correct, and that's what's great about these lenses. Like, what you're paying for is a straight, raw camera and glass. If you hear baby talking in the background, that's Lily. You know, I'm not babysitting my own babies, my daughter, I'm a father. What do you want me to do? When it comes to this lens, these lenses, no, none of these lenses are weather sealed. So if you do decide to get these lenses, just keep that in mind, that none of them are weather sealed, and keep in mind that you are gonna have to edit your images straight out of camera. It's not much editing, it's really not much editing, but you are. Some people do prefer the vignetting and the look combined with certain filters. I mean, if that's you, then that's great. I edit all my photos through the Visco app on my phone, and that might be another video. Easy editing, it takes me no more than 3 minutes. And I could copy and paste my editing to all the images, so I don't have to worry about having to edit every photo differently. It's so easy. Again, when it comes to this lens, I love the metal build. I love shooting at f2. It creates really good bokeh, really, really sharp. Of course, all these lenses are more sharp in the middle than anything in the center of the image. It's all metal, which I love, and it's exactly the same build as the 50mm f2, which is another great lens. And for affordable portrait lens or street lens, I highly recommend this 35mm. It's really, really good, and it's really easy to focus. I know people are afraid of like focusing on manual focus lenses, but I'm telling you, save yourself the money. You could get yourself 2 different focal lengths. But having a lens that's manual is really good. And if you shoot product photography and portraits where you have the time, this is definitely the lens I recommend. If you're shooting like sports and stuff, obviously you go for the lenses with the built-in autofocus. Image quality, build, feel, amazing. This lens, out of 1 to 5, I give this lens a 4.5. It's not weather sealed. And I know I'm paying, what, 30, 60, 50 bucks for it. It's a budget lens. But it's not, if I'm out in the rain, wouldn't feel comfortable with it. I'll be honest with you. But that's just, you know, that's the only thing that's really holding it back. Other than that, I think this is a great lens. It feels good. It's metal, like the image quality, once after post, little bit of editing, and I highly recommend. It's a great lens, a great portrait lens, a great street lens. I'm really considering for my monochrome build on the X Pro 2 because it feels amazing on the X Pro 2. Now the third lens I want to talk about is a 27mm f2.8 lens. I wanted a manual focus lens. I want something manual focus. I want to kind of take a break from all this autofocus and this too easy to shoot feel. These cameras are so advanced with autofocusing, which just kind of takes away the fun from shooting sometimes. The work, like, I don't care. Autofocus, let's get it done. Let's get this edit. Let's get this back to the client as fast as possible. I didn't want an autofocus lens, but I had to try it out. I did try the Fujifilm 27mm f2.8 lens, and I was kind of bored with it. I really don't like the 40mm focal length. I don't know if you follow me or you're subscribed to me. I mean, I'm pretty sure, I mean, you can if you want to. It's not gonna hurt you. In my first videos, I had the GFX 50R, and I was shooting with the Voigtlander 40mm, which was equivalent to a 35mm/40mm focal length. I just don't like the 40mm focal length. It feels so weird. I've been shooting 35 and 50 for so long. When I shoot 40, I'm like confused. Like my brain is like, So I ended up getting it because I had to try it because everyone kept talking about it. And that, for this price, you cannot beat this lens. So I ended up getting it. I did some street photography, and I'm gonna tell you now, bro, it makes no sense. If you're looking for a 40mm pancake lens for the Fujifilm system or any other system, I highly recommend this lens. I do not see the point of buying the 27mm Fuji version of this other than the weather sealed version. If it's a weather sealed version, okay, I get it. But this image quality, the size, the build, everything about this lens, this image, oh my God, what is going on? We got him making smoothies upstairs. You got her laughing like she's a baby Joker. Like, image quality you get out of this lens is amazing. I'm telling you now, if you have the money, do not purchase the 27mm unless you want the weather sealed version. Because honestly, this lens with images straight out of camera, light editing, and it's amazing. When it comes to color, when it comes to black and white, the lens is great. From the body, from the size, from the price, you could buy this lens and another focal length. If you're starting a budget build, highly recommend this lens. Its autofocus is the same as the 27, if anything, a little faster. It's crazy. Ttartisan really did their thing with this lens. This lens, I give it a 5. No doubt about it. I don't even care that it's not weather sealed. For this price, it's a quarter of, it's not even $200. And that 27mm Fuji lens goes from $450 to $400. You could buy this lens and you could buy another focal length. You could buy 2 other focal lengths and shoot. Like, if you're looking for a budget-friendly lens, I highly recommend these lenses, man. I'm telling you, it's minimum editing you're gonna be doing just straight out of camera. And in RAW, you can edit anything RAW. Like let's be honest, you can take a picture with any lens. Once you put it in RAW, AI can fix it up. You just tell AI to do its thing, like chop it up, do something, make it look good. Like, so we're not even gonna talk about that. We're talking about straight out of the camera. Highly recommend this lens. It comes with a little lens hood. You could put a filter on it. It has an adapter on its cap in the back, so like that you can update the firmware. The only thing I don't like, but again, it's a $200, less than $200 lens. You can't update the firmware unless you have a PC. If you have an Apple computer, then it's not gonna work. You gotta do the PC thing on the app, or all that confusing shit. This is too much. I want to plug and play. So that's the only thing I don't like. I can't update the firmware unless I have a PC. And I know most people do have PCs, but I'm an Apple person all the way. I don't want a PC, and then the PC got its virus, and then I gotta update this, and then the Norton thing, like, get out of here. Now, the 4th lens I'm reviewing for the Ttartisan is the 50mm f2. Now this lens, again, it has the same build as a 23mm, full metal. The focusing ring feels really good when you focus. This lens, I love. I'm a portrait guy. It's great for portraits, highly recommend it for portraits. If you're looking for a portrait lens, it's around the 75mm to, it's AKA 85mm lens. This, I highly recommend it. The 50mm, the Fuji version, the 50mm f2 version, it's 3 times this size. Alright, it's 2.5 times the size. I mean, look at this size. For this size, and that focal length is amazing, and it's f2, and you can change. It's a really good lens for the price you pay. It feels heavy, feels nice. I think it's literally almost a little heavier than the 23, but I'm telling you, if you're looking for a manual focus lens that is small, sort of like a pancake, at an 75-75mm focal length for street photography or just for portraits, you don't mind it being manual, I highly recommend this lens. There's another lens I'm gonna give a 4.5, but I'm not gonna give it a 5 because, of course, you know, 5 means it has to be weather sealed. I don't want you guys to relate. This guy's reviews is trash. What are you talking about? Like, you giving that a 5? You're crazy. Like, I gotta be honest. If it was weather sealed, of course it'd be 5. I mean, but for this price, we're not expecting these lenses to be 5s because for this price but for them to be a 4.5 is an amazing thing because that means the build, that means it's stealthy, that means the price. Like, you gotta remember, like, I work and I shoot in New York City, and there's a lot of rough neighborhoods. I don't understand how these street photographers be out here with their Leicas M6 or their Leicas M9s or their Leicas or M11s. But my ass, I tend to work in a lot of the hood areas of the Bronx and of Brooklyn and Queens, so I can't be walking around with Leica cameras. There was this one time I had the Leica Q2. Oh no, the Leica Q. So I had the Leica Q, and I was doing some street photography, and I took out my laundry. So I go to the laundry, I'm washing clothes, I have my camera on me. While they're in the dryer, I go out and I shoot. I have the Leica Q around my neck because, you know, that camera, it's compact, but it's big. You can't put it in your pocket. It's not no X100V or X Pro 2 or XE4 or 2 or anything. I had it around my neck, and I'm taking out my clothes. This homeless guy comes into the laundromat because there's a door in the back and a door in the front. So homeless people just be walking through this shit like it's a tunnel. I don't know what's on the other side of crack, maybe, I don't know. Anyways, so this guy comes in, he has a gas mask on, so I'm like, oh shit, he looks cool. But I'm folding my laundry, I have the camera on my neck. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna take this photo because he got crazy eyes. Like, that's one thing I do is before I take pictures of anyone, I ask. I don't just snap photos of people. And if they got crazy eyes, I don't even ask. I just keep it moving because I already got robbed once. And I'm a big dude, but it's like sometimes, I don't care how big you are, if you're a black belt or if Batman's your cousin and you used to hang out with Superman up the block. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if someone has a gun or a knife, it's just not worth it. Your life is more important than anything, not over this gear. So I'm folding clothes, boom, folding my clothes. Dude walks up to me, grabs my camera strap. I drop my clothes and I grab him like this. I was gonna literally grab him and throw him into the dryer, close it, and just put in a quarter. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? I grab him, like, yo, who you grabbing? He's like, oh, you could take a picture. I'm like, nah. I'm like, you out your mind? Don't grab me. See, I could have folded your shit. He goes, oh, no, you, all right, young blood, all right, yeah. I went out shooting with this camera, but it never hit me that this camera's like $4,000 to like $3,000 itself. He could have snatched that. He could have stabbed me. He could have took it. And not knowing that that camera's worth, it just was not worth my life, bro. I have a wife and kids. Like, I love photography. It's my life. It's my thing. It's the reason why I'm sharing everything with you guys. Because my channel is to inspire you guys to go out there and create. Certain gears is not worth walking around the streets with. And I know a lot of people risk it. And a lot of these other photographers, like, you know, Paulie B and all of them, like him and his crew, like they're around town square, and most of the time they're together in groups. I can't be walking around with expensive gear in the areas I tend to shoot, so this is the reason why I'm making this build. And that this lens, I highly recommend it. It's metal. If you're doing stock photography, if you're doing portrait photography, highly recommend it. These are the lenses, and again, I highly recommend them all. It's minimum editing you have to do straight out of the camera, so I highly recommend all of these lenses. The 18, again, I give it a 4. The 23, I'll give it a 4.5. Same thing with the 50 because it's very similar in almost every way. Image quality, amazing. And the 27, I give this a straight up 5 stars. Like, it's not weather sealed, but trust me, for this price, you cannot beat the image quality, the autofocus you get out of this lens. It's just so good. I highly recommend it. And for that price, Ttartisan did their thing. I'll be honest with you. I'm a Fujifilm native lens guy. I don't like shooting. This is the first time I'm ever shooting lenses from another company that's not Fuji. So that's my review of these lenses. Highly recommend these lenses. Ttartisan, you doing your thing. So I'm gonna be doing videos about my monochrome build. The lens I did decide to keep is a 23mm f2 lens because of the build, one, the size, and the price. So go out, if you're looking for affordable lens and you're deciding whether to buy one of these lenses, if you don't mind shooting manual, highly recommend it because you could purchase all 3 of these lenses, or all 4 of them, for the price of one Fuji lens. And you cannot beat that. The image quality you get out of it is easy to edit. I'm telling you, I'm a full-time photographer. I did everything I could. I pixel peeped and everything. The client's never gonna see the image before. The client's never gonna see an image straight out of the camera. The client's always seeing an image after his edit. So at that point, you can use any of these. My name is Digital, aka William Lee. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you have any comments, just leave them in the, leave them below, Maybe I'll like and reply. Forget about it, huh?